the last verses of chapter 22, when Jesus addressed himself to the Pharisees, the Herodians, and Sadducees, all those that were there, asking who they think Christ was. And it's obvious that they say he was the son of David. So they were acknowledged not only his lineage, but as well his authority. And they stopped asking questions after that. It's like silence. You don't hear any crickets.
It's more than stop asking. Because the last part, no man was able to answer him a word, yes. But the other part, neither durst any man from that day forth ask him any question. To me, that means nobody dared to do it again. Not only did he silence them, but nobody ever thought of doing it again to
Well,
question him like that.
it's not the absence of questions that was curtailed, because they did question him again when he got to the Sanhedrin Council and so on. So they did ask him questions. What this is, nobody dare try to entrap him in public again,
Okay,
because the
that makes
type of
sense.
questions they were asking at that time were questions designed to
To
trap
trap
him
him.
using his
Hmm.
own word.
Hmm.
And so at this point, they declared themselves unable to do this. So they said, let's give up on this. It's not going to work for us. But
Let's find a
he's
new
going to
way.
have questions posed to him again. So it's not that no questions ever came to him again. They had questions further down the road, but not these type of questions.
Hmm.
Hmm.
All right, let's go to 23.
Okay, Matthew chapter 23, verse 1. Then spake Jesus to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, The scribes and the Pharisees sit and Moses' seat. All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do. But do not ye after their works, for they say, and do not. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. But all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries, and enlarge the borders of their garments, and love the uppermost rooms at feasts, and the chief seats at the synagogues, and greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi. But be not ye called Rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren. And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven. Neither be ye called masters, for one is your master, even Christ. But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted.
Right, stop right there, son.
There, guys, keep going. Okay, so after the episode of 22, Jesus now addressed addresses himself to the multitude that was there all that time and to his disciples. Now, he's talking about the scribes and the Pharisees, saying that they sit in Moses' seat.
What do they mean by sitting Moses' seat? They now occupy his office. They're doing what he used to do.
The word being used there in the Greek is kath idzo,
Which means,
which means to make to sit or to be appointed.
so they're Moses' successors.
Uh-huh. Right? To settle in a position.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they're appointed themselves. They were not appointed by God, eh?
Hey,
They appointed themselves to be the successors of Moses.
right.
And that has to do with the law,
Mm-hmm.
the traditions of Moses and the
So they
teaching.
were in charge of the Mosaic law.
Yep.
They was the
They were,
successors of the Mosaic law.
yep. All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an endorsement.
Of the Mosaic law.
No, not the Mosaic law. An
Oh,
endorsement for what the Pharisees teach.
okay.
It says, whatsoever they bid you observe, that
Do it.
observe and do. You have to be observant of the laws and the
And
traditions
whatever
of
they teach
Moses.
you,
Right. Because he's saying they teach the right things.
they don't just live
They
it.
do
They don't
teach the
live it.
scripture.
But they
All
don't
right.
live it.
But do not ye after their works, for they say and do not.
Do as I say, but not as I do.
That's right. They observe,
They teach right, but don't live right.
he's right, but they do wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Diametrically opposed. That makes them hypocrites.
Yep.
That is what makes them hypocrites.
Hypocrites.
Do as I say, but not as I do. So Jesus is saying, do as they say, but don't do what they do. Interesting. Because you would think, based on their opposition to Christ, that Christ would say, don't listen to them at all.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not see that they're hypocrites? So therefore, don't pay any attention to them. Instead, he's saying, in truth, they have the right gospel.
Yeah.
They have the right teachings. The teachings that they appointed you are good. It's just that
Yeah.
the practices
All right.
are abhorrent.
So they know the scriptures and they teach the scriptures and the
And
laws,
they do
but
it.
they themselves do not observe and do what they teach.
Exactly. Which makes it worse.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
And that's rebellion.
they're totally blind and deaf.
No, this is rebellion. You know what you're supposed to do, but you choose not to do it. That's a rebellion right there.
Well, if you read, there's a passage that says, He that knoweth his master's will
and
and
don't
doeth
do it
it not,
shall be
right, shall
punished.
be flogged with many stripes.
Shall be
It is
punished.
directly aimed at them. They know what the master's will is. They know the law. They know what is right, but they do not do it. They know the requirements. They teach the requirements, and they give it to other people to do, but they themselves will never do it. So
In
4
other
says,
words,
uh-huh,
as Paul put it, you teach another, but don't teach yourself.
well, this is exactly what's going on because verse 4 says, for they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne. What does that mean?
Grievous means what they give is heavy. It's pain. Some of the things that they give to the people is painful and cause suffering.
Yeah, it's hard to bear.
Yeah, but you ignore the first part of the statement.
What
For
they
they
bind,
bind heavy
they,
burdens.
they
What
force you
does
to do
that
it.
mean? Huh?
Bind mean they tie it to you. They
No,
impose it onto you.
no.
What?
I say I'm binding a burden.
I'm tying
What
it to
does
you.
that mean?
If you bind a burden, means you're tying it. You're attaching it to something and tying it to that something.
That is like slavery.
No, it means that I gather together some things, like for example, sticks.
And I
I'm
tie them up.
searching for firewood. I go
Mm-hmm.
around the forest and I pick up sticks and I put them together and I tie them in a sheath. I tie them together. And that which I've tied is one package. That is the burden.
And
So
that's
they
what I
go
give to
around
you.
and they put things together. The laws of men, remember?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They cobble things together and they tie them up as one package and they place it on you and they say, carry that.
So that becomes the people them yoke.
That is the burden that they're giving you to bear. Things that they have put together, tied them together, things that don't would not necessarily be consistent or contiguous, and they tie them together and put some cause and effect together that really are tenuous at best, and they give them to the people to carry the laws of men.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Jesus is saying, and they lay them on men's shoulders, and they give them to people to carry.
Mm-hmm. These are
But
what you must
they
do.
themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. In other words, if I cobble together some laws and I give it to you to observe, and yet I don't adhere to the same things, it means, again, do as I say, not as I do.
And that is exactly. I'm a
But,
hypocrite.
but it is not, it is even worse because I have given you a task that I myself will never perform.
That's not fair.
I will never perform the same thing. So it's a case of we're all equal, but some are more equal than
Equal
others.
than the others.
It's Animal Farm all over again. So we see this is not new. The concept of we're all equal and we're all brothers, but I'm more brotherly than you. I'm better than you. It's do as I say. Yeah, this is a nice thing to do, and the law says you should do it. And here, this is what you should do. Take this up and carry it. But I'm not taking it for you. I'm not even going to help you to do it.
I prefer the Lord's
This,
approach.
this is exactly what Jesus had said earlier in chapter 15 when he had called them hypocrites. When he used the prophecy of Isaiah. You remember that? You remember? When he says, people draw near to me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me.
Yeah. But again and again and again, he's been saying that these people are hypocrites.
Yeah.
Now he's fleshing it out as to say exactly where the hypocrisy stems from.
Yeah.
In that they know what's to be done, they have the laws, and they will teach you the correct thing, but they themselves will never do it. Further to that, they have cobbled together their own traditions and their own laws, tied it to the Mosaic law, and then give it to you to carry, but they themselves will never observe it. And this is what has happened and continues to happen. So 5 says, but all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their okay. Let's stop there for the day. All their works they do to be seen of men. Remember that says Jesus says they have gotten their reward. Okay.
They boast.
Yeah. It is look at me. I am so fancy. Look at me. You honor me. In other words, they want to be honored. They want to be elevated. They want to be put up on a dais, right? So people can say, well, this is a guy that needs to be respected. That's all they're about. To be seen and honored and given the glory. They have put themselves above the people to a point where they expect to be worshipped almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
It's
and
interesting to see what the Talmud says about them.
Go ahead.
The Talmud says that there are 7 types of Pharisees. You can believe it? There's 7 types of Pharisees. 6 of them are bad. Don't ask me how. But here's what the 7 of them are. One is called the shoulder Pharisee, who looks at his good deeds on his shoulder and wears it for everybody to see. He's getting his praise. Him say, "Oh, I do this," and him show it off. The waiter little Pharisee who always intends to do good deeds, but always find a reason for doing them later, but not now. The bleeding Pharisee who was so holy that he could turn his head away from any woman seen in public, and who was therefore constantly bumping into things and tripping, thus hindering in himself. The humpback Pharisee, who was so humble that he walked bent over and barely lifted his feet, so everyone could see how humble he was. The always counting Pharisee, who was always counting up his good deeds and believed that he could put God in debt to him for all the good he has done.
That sound like PD jokes.
All right. The fearful Pharisee who did good because he was terrified that God would strike him with judgment if he did not. And the God fearing Pharisee who really loved God and did good deeds to please the God he loved. So almost all of them is showing off exactly like you said, Jackie.
they are extremists.
Yes, they're extremists. And that's what the Talmud says they are. There's no words. This is a Talmud.
My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and yet it's so simple because even in Matthew 6, verse 1, was saying the same thing. He was saying, take heed that ye do not your alms before men to be seen of them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, ye have no reward of your Father which is in
Exactly.
heaven.
You've got your own reward already.
You
Yeah.
get your reward already.
Yep.
And
So,
they have gotten it. Because everybody says, oh, how pious they are, how righteous they are.
and it's
And
not,
that's exactly what 5 said. They
but
do to
it
be
is still
seen.
here with us. Even in the church,
Of course.
you can identify the
These Pharisees.
certain type of Pharisees in the church,
Yeah.
and
These
they did
Pharisees
not.
still exist in the church. Yeah.
Yeah, but remember now, We say this like it's new. It's not, because remember, even in Paul's day, quite a few of the most devout Christians were Pharisees.
Mm-hmm.
When the Pharisees got converted to Christianity, like Paul, they were devout. So when we say there are Pharisees in church, we not far from the truth. We do have them, but the traditions of the Pharisees are still maintained in quite a few churches today. And when you listen to the types, you can identify them right away. In some, quite a few pastors are doing the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. When you
Mm-hmm.
talk about the Pharisee who wants God to owe them, I see these teachers of the
The get
rich
rich,
Christianity
the
thing,
get rich
right?
Christianity.
Prosperity gospel. This is what they're saying. T.D. Jakes himself has said he wants God to owe him. This is almost a quotation from him. He
Wow.
says, "I want God to owe me." This is what he says.
And God can't owe nobody.
Well, this is what he preaches.
And
So
of course,
it is, it is
the
not
one who was,
alien
yeah.
on you,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
and it is sad. But
And
hey,
you can identify those who advertise them good deeds too.
yes, it is always with us. It's not new. It's not gone away. It's still there.
It's
There's an
sad though.
interesting word. Phylacteries.
Okay.
What's the Greek word for that?
Okay. They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments. But we have to get the context for this.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's look at what this is. The word is the Greek word, right, is the phylacterion.
Mm-hmm.
Phylacterion.
Hmm.
And it is a amulet or parchment capsules containing little parchment rolls with the Hebrew text. They affix it to the upper part of the arm or the forehead, right, at morning prayers, and they regard it as a protection against evil spirits.
Okay,
Oh.
so
It's a
It's like a
crown.
it's like an
these are the
amulet.
Pharisees. We they still do it, you know.
Of course, they still do it.
It's like an
We
amulet.
Yeah, they have it. They have a leather lace, and they lace it up to their arm,
And their forehead,
tight, tight, tight,
they still
and
do
their
it.
forehead. Yes.
Listen, rabbinic Judaism comes directly out of the Pharisee, um, I wouldn't say religion, but the sect
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
of Judaism. It is
Mm-hmm.
coming straight from their teachings. It's an evolution. So they do the same things now that they did then. And they are doing the same things they want to be seen. Why do you think that you see these people walking around in the black hats and the black almost like trench coats, and they have the
Yeah.
Yeah,
hair
the
tassels
hot hot
coming
so
down?
You can't miss them when you see one.
It is to be seen.
I think they're taking Deuteronomy a little bit too literal.
It is to be seen of men and to be counted as being righteous
No,
and to
I
be
th-
seen as what?
go on. I am looking at Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 11 verse 18. Therefore you shall lay these words of mine in your heart and in your soul, and bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as follets between your eyes. I think they're taking it literal.
But listen, not only are they doing that, it is the intent. It is to protect them against demon possession. They see this
As a protection.
as a protection spell. So
Mm,
when they are accusing Christ of being a
witchcraft.
witch,
They are walking with it. Like them
They
have
really are
amulet on them.
hypocrites.
they're doing the same. They're doing exactly what they profess that Christ is doing. So they're very familiar with witchcraft.
But they don't see their work as witchcraft. That's the
No,
difference.
because they see it as coming from God.
Yes,
They,
That
so
is
it's
that
coming
is
from God, so
they
it can't
believe in
witchcraft.
witchcraft.
so they have perverted, as usual, perverted the gospel, perverted what the Bible says to feel good about themselves and to put it in a context that makes them look righteous, but everybody else to be pushed down. Because look, they when it says they have enlarged their tassels, this entire thing about enlarging the tassels, they wear these clothing, right? And in it they stitch parts of the gospel and what have you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
And
them.
so
Yeah.
this is what Jesus said.
Then walk in. Them clothes have scripture on it.
Yeah, they're walking effigies of the gospel, of the Bible, of
This
the
is
Talmud, of
this.
whatever
Yeah,
Yeah.
scripture
because them
you are.
following what the Bible say. The Bible say the Old Testament said they must do that.
Well, they have taken it to the extreme as usual, and they have
So
cobbled together other things on top of that and made it a thing.
this is interesting because uh, we see up to today, not only with the Jews, but some people use like prayers or part of the Bibles, physically written on a paper and fold it and then put it into um, a cloth and sew it. And I've seen this like for when you have a newborn and you want protection above the child, like you would put it in the crib or
Yeah,
under
you
the
put it on
pillow of
the
the
clothes.
child.
Yeah. Well, you see, the problem with all of this is that they're using God as a hobby man.
Mhm.
Mm.
But Jackie, it's more than that. They didn't when they enlarged the borders of their garment. God never tell them when he was talking to Moses to enlarge them garment. Himself to create one tassel. Had
Well,
nothing to do. God say use or create one tassel and put it on your clothes, tie around you. Gird yourself with the tassel. Him never said them for put nothing upon them garment.
You see, that's the problem when you want to be too zealous. You, you,
So
you, you
so
want overdo
that
it and
alone is
then
a
you end up doing
disobedience.
wrong.
but
Exactly.
nothing's wrong with you being zealous. Nothing's wrong with you going overboard. Nothing's wrong with all that now. If you want to be excess, nothing's wrong with that. But
But
it is the intent. Let's say
what you're zealous about?
follow the bullet. It is why you're doing it. If you're doing it because you genuinely love the Lord and you genuinely want people to be observant and you're trying to set an example that they can follow and that you are in keeping with the gospel, nothing wrong with that. Because remember, Jesus has already said that if you
Glory.
if you have the blessing of being, for example, able to not marry, right? It is a blessing. You have devoted your life in its entirety to God.
Hmm.
So one would say that's an extreme position. But no, it is something that you have done for a reason that is consistent with the gospel. But what
Hmm.
they are doing is they are being excessive and extravagant for totally non gospel and
God's
non godlike behavior. The
yeah
intent is for their own glory,
image. They're
right?
pro- they're
If that
presenting
was
their
the
own
case,
image
so
as
if that's
being
the
very
case, and
spiritual.
wait, so if that is the case, what are they doing? You said it, but you don't express it outright.
They lie then.
It's idolatry.
It's
Mm.
idolatry. Them setting themselves up.
They're using their garments as their own little idols.
Yeah.
Because we see these things every day. We pass them doing it, and I say, "Boy, look at this foolishness." They dress the part, and they're becoming effigies themselves.
Yeah, they have lost the meaning behind what they have done.
So they worship the worship just for the worship.
Just like the Catholics.
So they
Why?
can get what they can get out of it. They do it because they get praise feet. So
That's
people
a thing.
worship them.
Hmm. That is a power thing.
It is a power grab.
People
And
worship them and say, "Oh, I'm pious. Oh, I'm this, I'm that." And he gets his reward right there.
And that's where it ends.
Right there.
Right? So they enlarge the borders of their garments and love the uppermost rooms at feasts and the chief seats in the synagogues.
Hmm. Them not take
Right?
them love the rich and the famous, the seats of honor.
Yeah.
When you
they
said the
like to be,
chief seats in the synagogue and the upper rooms, the upper room in a feast, isn't that where the upper echelons would be, the big wigs? If if
Yeah.
if if we were looking at this, where we would say the billionaires,
The VIPs.
the
yep.
VIPs. This is where the
Right?
VIPs would be.
Right. But there's a difference with the chief seats in the synagogue. Here, they are assuming leadership.
Hmm.
If you're in the chief seats in the synagogue, it means that you are assuming leadership and that you have the wherewithal to teach.
Hmm.
So this is what this is. So not only are they trying to be VIPs, they are trying to be VIPs
Who
who
are
are
leaders?
also leaders within the church, with the church. Because guess what? That synagogue was considered at the time the church. We seem to think that the church is a new construct. It's not, right? And this is why Jesus says, "I will build my church, not a
Every
church
morning.
or the church, my church,
But
a different church."
Jesus warned them over and over in the Bible. Because in Luke 11:43, he say, "Woe unto you, Pharisees, for ye love the uppermost seats and the synagogues and greetings in the markets. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are as graves which appear not, and then
Whitewash
the men that
sepulchres.
walk over them are not aware of them."
Mhm.
Graves, no.
Mhm.
No, I mean, they're graves, but you notice verse 6 and love. It never said they got it, you know. They love it, which means they coveted.
Yeah.
They coveted. That's what their desire. It don't mean that they had it. So if you love something, don't mean you have it. You desire it. So look at verse 6, Jackie, and tell me what love means in that instant. Is it love as I love you, or is it desire?
It is desire, but it is more akin to lust,
Yeah, covetousness.
right? But they did get it. Listen, this doesn't mean they didn't get it enough. It means they can't get enough of it.
Mm.
Mm,
They will never be satisfied with what they do get. It is an insatiable lust for power,
okay.
Wow.
right? It is not something that can be satisfied. So don't get the impression that this means that they haven't gotten some. They have, but it is never going to be enough. They will constantly want more. And so they will become more extravagant.
Hmm.
Um,
And this is why they see Christ as a threat.
Jackie, how is when they say seated in the chief seats, where is the chief seat in the synagogue?
In the synagogue,
Hmm. Where
It
is
is
it?
it is at the top of the like a dais is put there where and a dais is a raised area, okay,
Hmm.
where they will be sitting where everybody can see them. Okay, you have a raised area from where the person who is going to read from the scriptures will be standing, but on that raised area there are people who sit there. And that is where the leaders,
Let me check.
the teachers, the
Let,
scribes, the learned men, the lawyers would sit, because when people are going to be needing an explanation for the reading, they will deliver it.
hmm.
And they won't be wrong in terms of what they say. So, what they say in the synagogues, listen to what they say, but don't become like them in what they do. They will give you, because remember, remember when these guys asked Christ the questions they asked him, and he answered, they did not disagree with his answers. It aligned with what they were teaching in every sense. When the Pharisees question Christ and he answers, they don't say you are wrong. They
Because
agree
they
with
can't say so.
him. He's correct. So they know that he's teaching, what he's teaching is aligned with what they teach. And this is why when he goes to the synagogues and he's teaching, they don't throw him out. They can't throw him out because of his teachings. He's teaching the same things they are. However, his actions are different. In his action, he is healing the sick. He is um, giving the blind their sight back, raising the dead. His actions are totally different from what they do. He is
Interesting.
not trying to find the upper seat. He's going down to where the people are, the sick, the tax collectors, the money lenders, and all of these so called untouchables. That's where he is. He's not in
Mhm.
the seat where they are.
I found something and I want
Go
to
ahead.
share it with you. About the synagogue. You're not wrong in where the seats are, but there's something I want to show it.
Sure, go ahead.
In the synagogue, important people sat on benches called chief seats, which were lined three sides of the room. The common people sat on the floor,
Mhm.
which was made of dirt. All right.
Yeah.
The speakers and the readers would stand on a small platform or a beamer, and a small menorah probably stood there as well. The Torah readers sat on the Moses seat or the seat of honor because they read Moses' words. So when him said going for the chief seats, they wanted to sit on the benches because everybody else sat on the floor in the dirt.
Not
So when
only
you
that,
sat on the benches, everybody see you.
not only that, the word used for chief seats in the Greek translates to the first seats. All right. And
Hmm.
these seats are at the front row,
Hmm. Front row.
right?
Everybody sit
Front
down
row.
beside behind them.
Everybody is behind them. They're up front.
They sit on benches up front. Everybody sit on floor on the dirt behind them.
Yeah, they're in the spotlight and the other
They're,
ones in
they're
the shadow.
definitely in the spotlight.
All eyes on me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All
Like
eyes on me.
cameras, action.
Right?
Crazy.
7 says, and love the uppermost rooms at feasts and the chief seats in the synagogues, and greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi.
Who is to be called teacher? Of course. You know how nice is it to be called Dr. Williams?
Listen, this ain't just the issue. It's not just a name.
I'm
Listen,
troubling you here. But
I get it. I get it. But what's going on here is not just the title,
I know.
it's the
But them
adoration that comes with
is
the
other, yeah.
title.
They love the honor and the adoration that comes with the title.
Right? Because
People
when they are
admire them.
walking, listen, when somebody calls and says, you're walking along and somebody says, good morning, Rabbi, that's one thing. But when the person is chanting, Rabbi, Rabbi, they're lifting you up.
Yeah.
Somebody said,
Rabbi,
"Hey,
Rabbi.
Rabbi." It's somebody on the, think of it like this. I'm on the roof of my building and you are passing along and I'm trying to get your attention. So I shout, Rabbi, Rabbi, and you just turn around and give me a little wave and you acknowledge
What
me.
does rabbi actually mean? Does it have another meaning besides teacher?
Well, I think that's what it means. I don't know that it means anything else. But let's see what it says in the Greek.
Hmm. Okay, if I'm going to call teacher, teacher,
It
um,
means master as well, yeah?
Yeah.
I.
Right?
So
Yeah.
it's not
So,
just so we call in master.
yeah, because you're a master at your task. And this is why, listen, this is what we transliterate into our education system now, where we have you get your
The
degree,
doctorate.
you get your degree, and then you go
Mm-hmm.
on to your master,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's a reason it's called your master's because it means you have mastered this particular discipline.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they're saying. You're a master at this. You have
Of that.
mastered it. You have subjected it. You
Mm-hmm.
know everything about this thing as it relates to you. You are not only a teacher, but you are an expert. And this is where the lawyers come in. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're a legal eagle. Your perspective on the law are such that it is called upon wherever you are needed in the Sanhedrin. You're a
Mm-hmm.
master.
So you're
So
a lawyer.
yeah, so when they're being called master, 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 it's not just to say you are, I am subjecting myself to you as a slave. You are saying that I am subjecting myself to your legal
Expertise.
interpretation and your expertise, right? So whatever you say I should do, I need to do. You get it?
You're the expert, and I'm just
You are
following
the
you.
expert, and I consider you the master. So when you render an opinion, when you deliver an opinion, I follow that opinion doggedly because it is what I need to do for this particular situation. So it's like the Pope coming down the road in his motorcade, and the people are there shouting, Pope, 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 whatever your name is. And he waves a little Pope wave,
Mm-hmm.
or the Queen coming down, and she has the Queen wave. Everybody knows it, the turning of the hand. Yeah, this is what
Of course, we
Rabbi,
know the
Rabbi.
beauty queen wave
Yeah, yeah. The Rabbi, Rabbi. This is the elevation, the adoration that they desire.
that they reach. Yeah.
They
Special attention.
long to get it. This is what they desire. It is what makes them get up in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. They get special attention when they walk on
Mhm.
the street,
Yeah.
and they get big
Beyond that, nothing
accolades.
matters. This is all they're about. And you
Yeah.
ask yourself, so what did they gain from doing that? Nothing except they
Not a
felt good,
thing. Really?
except they feel good.
Well, I don't feel good when people can't call my name. But tired of it. I don't know how them live with it.
Well, they like it. So,
So
Hmm.
Jesus,
verse
so
8,
from verse 2 to verse 7, Jesus described what they are.
Yeah.
They
But
are
but
them dress up themselves. They love luxury, and they love the fame and fortune that comes with what they do, and they love the accolades and salutations that come with it.
mhm. But verse 8
Is the
gives a
important one.
gives a shift.
That's why I summarized verse 2 to 7.
But I want you to understand why this shift is important for me. Because when you read verse 8 going down, you would get the impression that he's speaking to his disciples.
Mhm.
He's not only speaking
No,
to the
he's talking
disciples.
to the
Verse
multitude.
1 tell you he spoke to the
Exactly.
multitude and the
Yeah.
disciples.
Meaning everybody who was there.
He was talking to
Ordinary folk.
everybody.
Joe Blow from off the street. Ordinary folks. So let's
Everybody
hear
who
what
was
he
in
said
ears.
to Joe Blow,
Yeah,
Vanilla.
yeah. He
But
called
be
everybody.
yeah, but be not ye called rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren. Hold on
So your
now.
master is Christ, and all of you are family. None of you are
Why
no
did
higher than
he
the other.
why did he use this word, Christ?
Tying back to verse 42 of the first of the chapter before, when he asked them who was Christ.
Exactly.
Verse 8 and verse 10 is basically saying the same thing. Neither be ye called master, for one is your master, even Christ.